probably the last class. So in our previous class, we've dealt with Bezier actions, Bezier mode, and we've worked on simple shape, right? I've taught you guys how to vectorize your simple shape with your Bezier tool. And just like I've said, complex shapes. And so when we talk about complex shapes, we are talking about the combination of simple shapes. Yes, just like having two simple shape joined together, or perhaps having um, more more than two shapes joined together, two simple shapes joined together. Yes, let me put it that way. So when you have more than two shapes, or two or more simple shapes, when you have them joined together, you formed a complex shape. And so just like I've said, we will be dealing with simple shapes. Yes. And so without further ado, guys, let us get started so that we won't consume much time in this video. And so okay, so let's change colors. Actually, we won't be dealing with much shapes in this video. Okay, so let's have it like this. Let's join it together to make it just a simple okay, so join together. Oh, fine, that's nice. So let's unseen it. Let's try to look for another shape, color. I should have done this, guys, but actually, once you know how to, you can practice these stuffs on your own. After this video, you can practice it on your own so that it won't be much difficult. Just join any type of shapes you want. Just join it together. By the time you are done with all the O shapes, perhaps if you can do the O shapes, and if you can't use the O shape, the number of shapes that you use, just make sure you combine shapes together. I'm sure the last video you guys didn't just watch it like that. I'm sure some of you do practice it after the video, because if you don't practice it, I've told you guys before, it will just look like as if you just plant without watering. I think let's pick this. Let's change the color. Okay, let's look for another shape again. And so once you combine different shapes together, and you know how to work on them, it won't be difficult for you to work on any shapes. Whatever the shapes, wherever the shape is coming from, you just kill it ASAP. And so Bezier tool is not that very hard. It's not complicated like it seems. It's just something you guys don't put too much miles in, and then it's eating you up. once you put your mind in it, it's actually not that very hard. I think we should just have this one alone like that. So how many shapes have we created? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try to add another one. Actually, I'm confused. I don't know the combination. Okay, let's try to have 3 now. Let's try to have 3 shapes now. Whatever the shapes you form, let's just know it's a shape. Then there's one thing I want you to know. Both for simple shapes and for complex shapes, the same process is followed. The same process is followed. The same process is followed throughout. Okay, so guys, let's get started. So with this particular shapes, you just toggle your grid line, and then let's start working on it. Let's change our color, our grid lines color. Okay, fine. And so one thing I told you guys is that you should always consider the arrow where it is pointing to. And so here the arrow is, and it is always by default. Once you just click on it, this is where the arrow will be following this direction. Take a look at it. Though it is not clear, but once this is the direction the arrow will be pointing by default. And so you can just go. Okay, let's reduce the height first. We need to reduce the height. And so let's start from here. You can pick any angle, guys. You can pick anywhere you want to start from. So let me just, I can rotate. I can decide not to rotate. Okay, let's have it. And so let's start our work. So you can see the arrow clearly now. You can see this. Now the arrow is visible here. So you can see the direction is pointing on. So that's where we're working towards. So let's slide up a bit. Don't forget, once you pick a point, the next point is your main target. So what do? We use our control polygons to control it down. You can see. And so don't forget, what's our next target? The next point. So you clicked on point extension, boom, you are there. So let's zoom away. Okay, so don't forget, always consider your Bezier mode before you do any work. Just whatever you want to do, always consider your Bezier mode first. Because always look at it. Okay, where am I before you continue anything. If you want to click on extension mode and you are here where it is right now, it won't work, and you start asking yourself what's going on. And so we've talked about that in the last video. If you don't understand anything, you can go back and watch it again, or you ask me question. So the next point is our targets, and boom, we are there. So our control polygon. The more you practice, the more you, and this thing, once you practice it for like 48 hours, yes, 48 hours, it's not that very hard. So once you continue practicing, you will know how to use your how to use your control polygon very well. You know how to use it, but it's something you just have to practice. It's not hard, big time. I'm telling you, it's not hard like that. It requires practice. And let me tell you one thing, guys. Whatever you practice, it becomes part of you. It becomes part of you. It's like I said it in the first video. Even if you want to be an arm robber, once you just practice, it might be very difficult for the security agents, the police to catch you. Yeah, I do tell my people that fine, we have them, that's what they do, but once you once you practice, is it even possible to practice robbery? Yes, it's possible to practice robbery. You try it with your friend, you will try it with whoever you want to try it with. And so from small it becomes big, and then boom. So practice makes you unbeatable. Practice make you unbeatable. And so from here we should have joined it together like this, but no, because we still have like 2 points to go. And so we undo it, and then we clicked on our on our points. You can see we've clicked on it. And don't forget to always zoom. So now the next point is we just have 1 point more to go. And so what do? You just close it, and then you work on it. Let us zoom out. You work on it. Oh, so sorry guys, I just received a call from my mom. And so okay, so let's continue, guys. Let's continue. I had to pause the video. So so you just increase the opacity, and then you change the color, and boom, you have what we want. Exactly the same thing. Exactly. And so yeah, we are done with that. Let's delete it. So let's work on this style of a thing. This style is also complex, just like having 1 2 3 4 5, having 4 triangles joined together. And so let us just work on it. So let's work on it. Let's change the color. Okay, so let's go. Yeah, you can just reduce the height, you can reduce the length, like you scale it for proper stuffs. But you know, I've been doing this for a while, so either to scale it or not to scale it, I can decide whatever I want to do. This part will be pretty simple. So I'm trying to be very fast because of time. So So because of our time, I have to just do it down so that it won't consume much time. I think that idea is pretty cool. So now that we have 1 points, let's just join it together and use our control polygon to join it together, and boom. And so guys, it's not too much. You sometimes increase the opacity. Yeah, you can just increase the stroke width. You can just increase it. You see, it's not a must. I've been using opacity and increase sometimes. It is not a must. You have it opacity and increase, opacity and increase. It's not a must. And so, and there you have it. You have your star, but in a different way this time. If you want it exactly like this, like the one we copied, you just increase the opacity. But if you have it this way, you can also have it this way too. Just increase the stroke width. You can reduce it depending on how you want it. And so it's like we are done with this. Let's delete it instead. And so we have more 3 to go. So let me cut the videos here, and then in the next video we'll work on it.